Good morning, magandang umaga, and welcome to today's episode of My PI Dream. As you can see, we're having rice this morning with our breakfast. And if you live in the Philippines, you are very familiar with having rice for breakfast. Now, if you are from other countries like the United States, you're probably saying, James, rice for breakfast? Rice is normally like an afternoon or a dinner type of dinner or a supper kind of a meal. But in the Philippines, rice is in the breakfast. And what Ness does, which is probably typical here in the Philippines, is she adds garlic. They call it garlic rice. What they call the garlic rice over here in the Philippines is sinangag. Right? Sinangag. Sinangag. So that's what we're having this morning with a little bit of, it's like an omelet and some kind of weird sausage. It's I will tell you, when you buy pork or beef from the grocery markets here in the Philippines, they're totally different. The looks and the taste, everything are different from what we normally have for processed food inside the U.S. That being said, we're going to enjoy breakfast this morning, and we'll get into what today's episode is all about after the intro. So, without further delay, let's get today's video underway. Well, it's another rainy day here in the Philippines. Every day's a rainy day, hence the name rainy season right now. But I'm trying to take an opportunity, I'm trying to take a moment in time in between some of all this rainfall to test out the new controller for the DJI Phantom Pro Plus that we did all the videos when we were filming Villa Feliz build here. When I was back in the US, I had to make a decision. Do I buy a new controller? Do I repair the one that I have? Or do I look online and see if I can find a used one that somebody's getting rid of that will substitute the one that's broken here? Remember the one that broke back here at Villa Feliz, the board, we had problems with that. That's why we haven't been doing any aerial photography, aerial video of anything around here in the local area. Well, I ended up finding one on, what was it? Oh, eBay. I found one on eBay that was cheaper than doing all the above. It was cheaper than even replacing the motherboard inside the existing one that has a problem. So I'm going to do a link up. You have to link the controller with the drone itself, and then I'm going to do a test in between the rain dropping, I hope, and the wind is picking up again. You can't fly it when it's raining. So let me do that. Let me go inside, do a quick configuration, try to get working. I hope it's quick, and then come back outside and we'll do a quick 360 degree to kind of get an idea of what changes the property looks like since we last did it, because it's been, I'm going to say it's been how many months? 8, 10, 12 months since the last time we did a drone overhead view of the property here at Villa Feliz. I guess there's a few things that are pretty obvious from the drone flyover. One is that the drone's actually working, so that's a good thing. And I got to tell you, having a drone when you're building a house, if you're building a house, it's a great asset for you. You'd be able to do things like inspections. Like today, I saw from the drone flyover, because I really haven't done any examination of the roof, I can see that there is some kind of spillage that's coming out of the solar hot water heater. Now, I don't think that's an issue. I think what that spillage is, the solar hot water heaters, they have a like a failover feature. If the water gets too hot on the inside, either from overexposure to the sun, or the exposure to the sun, and also while it's plugged in, for days like today and the last week or two where we really haven't had a lot of sun, the electricity will actually heat up the water inside there to compensate for the lack of sun that would do that. Well, anyway, if it gets too hot inside there's an overpressurization. I think that's what that is. I think that's an overflow. But what I will do, I will go ahead and do a closer examination, what they call an ocular here, and I will check to make sure that there's no other issues inside there. I'll take a look at that, and I'll probably use the drone to do a close examination of that when the weather is more favorable. It actually kind of stopped right now. You could see that flying. It was raining when it was flying, and you got to be really careful because we don't want to drop the plane. We don't want it to fall. It wasn't very favorable, the weather conditions, when I was just flying it after I just got it back into service again. So we'll take another look at that later on. Also, it's probably pretty obvious from the overhead video that we're doing work on the driveway. I started this. I got with my gardener the other day, and he and I are cutting up a lot of the grass that we put when we were covering all of the grass blocks. You can see from here. Now today we'll complete, as long as the weather is favorable, we'll complete this. We're going to take all of this grass from here and just make this portion right here nothing but the grass blocks inside. We're going to continue to allow the grass to grow in the small holes inside there, but what I found out, you see the mess, it just makes a mess when I try to park inside the garage, and the wheels get so muddy and dirty. So we're going to go ahead and remove that. I'm going to leave the grass on this. I like this grass. We're going to let it stay and continue to grow like this, but if we do it nice and manicured, I think it will look okay. So that's what we're going to do. The main thing is it makes a mess, and I don't want to I haven't had a problem yet, but I can see on this little elevation right here, I can foresee having a problem with slipping at some point, and I don't even want to go there. So we'll go ahead and take care of that. And as you probably see, I still have not put the hole in the wall yet for the cable. I'm still waiting for it to dry up some. It's still not dry enough to work on the outside. The rain comes every like 10 minutes, on, off. So that's a project I'm going to work on today. But I will show you something on the inside that I worked on yesterday that you might find interesting, and this has to do with Wi-Fi inside your house. And when you build a house in the Philippines, you remember that most houses are built using concrete and steel reinforcement, unlike the houses that you build in North America that are generally made with sheetrock and wood. Wood for the framing, and then you put sheetrock on. And the wireless transmission, the radio signal has no problem penetrating those types of materials. But the thickness and the density of the concrete over here make wireless signals a challenge sometimes. So if you have a multi-level house and you're trying to get wireless from one floor to the next, there are different options that you can have. And we'll talk a little bit about that, and we'll talk and I will show you what I worked on yesterday to be able to give us a stronger signal down in the basement. Now, when you are designing your house, if you're working with an architect, something that should be very important that you should discuss with them is your network. You want your roughing for your network to be able to give you a lot of options. Because reality is, it's almost important these days. Well, not quite as important. You don't have to have internet, but pretty much people rely on internet for everything. You're using your internet for your communications, for your media, for your computers that you use inside your smartphones. All your devices these days rely on some type of a network for you to be able to use these. Just think, the Philippines being probably, I think, the #1 user of social media, Facebook, where would you be if you didn't have some type of connectivity to the internet, whether it be using your LTE, your phone to connect outside, or inside your house with your wireless or your wired network. So what I want to discuss today is being able to make sure that you have good distribution of wireless and wired inside your home. Now, this box with its devices are no stranger to you who have been watching the channel here and know that we just set this up for our music, our information, our news out inside the yard. This is how we connect the Alexa Echo device, and it goes through the amplifier, the marine amplifier, and it sends the music and everything that we're streaming out to the yard so we can listen to it around the yard. Well, yesterday I discovered there's a little bit of an issue, an anomaly. Now, this device, because it's wireless, the Alexa device is wireless, and it connects to the wireless router upstairs. Now, you see all this? This is the ceiling, and the ceiling is a slab of concrete, and it's having some difficulty getting through the concrete. It works, but every now and then it would be spotty. I would lose the signal, then it would come back on again, and it's just not the best way to try to listen to music out in the yard. It's a disruption. So I got to thinking, we need better internet connectivity here inside the basement. I've been planning on doing that for a while anyway, because when I'm down here with the computer and working, the signal is very low down here. Now you have options. You have multiple options, and some of the options that you have, you could put a range extender. And the range extender is basically, it's sort of like a router, but it takes the signal, the weak signal that you have from wherever your router is, and it boosts it on that same channel, and it'll boost it in a distant location that has weaker signals. We could do that, and there's multiple ways of doing that, and I have several of those devices. You have devices that will allow you to extend your signal over your existing electrical wires inside your house. So basically, you can hook up a device upstairs, plug it into the wall, it will receive the signal upstairs, and it will transmit it, and it doesn't get affected by the electricity. Through the electrical wiring inside your house, you put another device down here, and you'll have wireless inside. It extends your wireless connectivity over your electrical. We have that. I've used that. They're okay. I find they work best for like one room, like maybe a spare bedroom or something like that, and you want to get connectivity in that one specific room. I don't really like it for full coverage of a large area. Now you can also do extenders that don't travel across your electricity lines, because some of those work, some of those don't work so well. And the extenders that you have, you can just plug them in. They're just like a router. As a matter of fact, a lot of routers you can actually configure it as extenders or bridges. And what they do is they capture the weak signal that's traveling through the air, and then they boost it at another level inside the area that you have the weak signal, and it gives your components in that area an ability to make a connection, and it uses that signal to talk back up to the other router on another floor. Those work pretty good. Or there's another option that you can do, which is what I did. Now what I did, I decided to use a spare router. I have this Asus, and this Asus is the RT AC68U dual band router. And I will tell you, my favorite routers in the world are Asus routers. They have so much versatility, so many things you can do with configuration. I believe these are some of the best routers that you can find out there. Well, what I've done, this was a spare one. This was an old one that I had years ago, and I decided to repurpose this one and repurpose it as basically a extender, but it's actually being used as a regular router. This is a VPN client. Like we have the VPN client upstairs, we're using this as a VPN client down here in the basement, so that gives us reach back to our US VPN server, and it gives us accessibility to Wi-Fi in this entire area down here. Now I'm going to show you up at the very top. If you remember when I designed Villa Feliz, I have network everywhere. You see that little connection way back there? That's Ethernet. That's Cat 6 going through the slab, and it goes all the way to our patch panel upstairs where I design all of the network. So if I have to do any patching around for anything for the network inside, everything goes to one place. Well, this makes a connection to our fiber modem inside our house. So that router, which is a VPN client, connects to our fiber modem, which is just our modem that gives us connectivity to PLDT, and then it does a reach back to our VPN server back in the US. Let's talk a little bit about what does this give me? What capability do I now have using this router that I did not have before? Well, using this router, because the router itself is hardwired via Cat 6 all the way upstairs to the PLDT fiber modem, it gives me full strength. I lose nothing over the Cat 6. It's hardwired, and it gives wireless down here inside the basement at full strength, because that is the router that's going to cover this area, which is separate. It's independent of all the wireless up on the next floor above me. Also, what it gives me the ability as a VPN client to reach back to services back in the US that I would not normally be able to use over the PLDT service here in the Philippines. So that means for me, for this device right here that streams music to the yard over those rock speakers, now I have no loss, I have no dropouts, because that is connected wirelessly to the new router down here. A win-win situation for me in the basement and in the yard. All right, well, that's done. You can see it's installed. It looks nice and clean. It looks like part of the basement. Well, it kind of is part of the basement. But the installation was not completed without a little bit of a problem. I will show you on the outside what I had. Well, I will show you, but I will tell you right now. I had a blowout. Remember, I said I was going to drill from the outside to make the access hole for the cable. I was going to drill from the outside in, so if there was a blowout, it would be behind this box right here. But what I found out when I was thinking about doing that, I have a specific hole in the back of this box that I wanted to go through, straight through the wall. And there was almost no way for me to be able to go 16 inches, figure a 16-inch drill through the wall and come out at exactly that spot. It was just too difficult. So I said, if I'm really careful, and I should know better, I've done this before, you can't, no matter how careful you are, you're always going to get a blowout. And that's what I did. I got a blowout on the outside, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Well, that's what I got, and that's the problem I have to fix. So I have some Cambridge skim coat on the inside. I'm going to apply a coat, do some sanding, some more skim coat, do sanding, just like we did when we built the house. And then what I'll do after I get that done, it's all sanded and nice and smooth. I have this paint color. I have a whole bucket of it inside, and I'll do a paint cleanup on that. But for all intents and purposes, everything's done. I say everything's done. I keep saying there's something else. I just got a couple of clamps that I want to put on the outside and attach it, or put something that hides that cable on the side of the house so you don't see it so much. And that's just for aesthetics. But I'm going to move on to another project right now. Well, anyway, Right now, what Ness is doing upstairs, she's practicing on the bass. I asked her to do some practice on a certain song that we're going to try to put together. And I've already started studying the song. She's studying the bass line right now. And what I'll do, as soon as we start progressing a little bit on it, we'll sit down in the basement and we'll have like a little jam practice session, and I'll include you guys on that as well to see how people who are learning, if musicians, they have to start somewhere when they're learning a song, how they actually, the evolution of learning a song to play either in a band or for just your own entertainment. Okay, well, let me go ahead and get started, try patching up that hole up there, and then I have one more project for today, if I have time, that I want to do, and I'll show you that as well. So if you remember, I told you the backbind box has a lot of projects inside. I'm going to grab one of the projects right now. And I think the project right now is going to be an automatic dog watering bowl. And let me show you that. So this is the Bergen automatic dog watering bowl right here. It's a system. You can mount it to the side of your house. You can mount it to a floor if you want to mount. If you got a very aggressive dog, but ours aren't like that, so we don't need to do that. But if I wanted to, I think I might mount it to the side of the foundation. And it has a water inlet right here, and this hooks directly to your garden hose. And what you can do is I picked up also in the backbind box here. I have a very short connection right here. This connection will go to a Y, and somewhere in that box there's a Y, and I'll top a Y off. One will go to the watering dish for the dogs, another one will go to the standard gardening hose. So let me go ahead and find the best place, the best strategic place for this for the dogs, and then I'll do the installation of that while my gardener, who's outside right now, he is working on digging up some more of that grass inside the driveway. Alright, so after careful deliberation, looking at the different places, there's 4 places in the yard that have water bibs, water spigot connections that I could connect to. One is right here in the front, but I don't really want to put the dog's watering bowl right here in the front. Aesthetically, it wouldn't look right. The only good thing about this is shaded all day long, and the dogs would always have cool shaded water right here. But I don't want to put it in this area, and it'd be difficult getting the lawnmower in unless I had it high enough. That Hoppo wouldn't have any problem getting there if I had it high, but Marianne might have difficulty, so that is not an option. Then there are 3 other places inside the yard that have water spigots, water bibs, and I'll show you those. Now we have a water bib up here. It's way up here. But that is going to be eventually relocated. That's going to be relocated down here to this section right here, connecting to the hose reel that I use to wash the vehicle and to wash on the driveway, and also to put water on the grass blocks inside the driveway. So this is an option. The only thing, the negative thing about that area is in this part of the afternoon, it's sunny. So the water will get warm there. So if I do put it there, then I will have to probably make a little bit of shade area, maybe a little awning over the top of that for the dog so the water stays cool. The other place is right here on the back of the house. Now I'm not too excited about putting it there. Again, the same thing with Marianne. If I had it up higher, then the lawnmower could go up underneath it. And I don't really want it, I don't want it on the back of the house. So that to me is not an option. The front of the house or the back of the house is not an option. And then the only other water bib that I have is this one right here for the cistern. Now I looked, I thought this would be kind of cool back here. This would be really great. It's out of the way. But the thing is, I use the lawnmower to go right through this area right here. And if I put it there, then it's going to be kind of awkward running the lawnmower back here at this point. So I decided that's not a good idea either. So what I ended up deciding, and I think is the best thing, is the area down in the driveway, at the bottom of the driveway, going into the basement. Plus there's a drain there. If anything leaks, the water will just go into the drain and go into the storm sewer. Any of the other places, it'll just go into the ground. But that area is going to have an upgrade. Remember I told you I'm going to upgrade the water bib on the outside. I'm going to relocate it. And we're eventually going to tap in off of that same PPR pipe that's connected to where that water bib is that's going down. We're going to connect it inside and put a little sink in that little plant nursery, plant workshop area inside there as well. So that is an upgrade for another day, but I think best bet is putting it down there. Now, this automatic dog feeder has a float valve inside, and you can adjust it, and that's what I'm going to do right now because it was set too low, not enough water inside. So let me set it, and I'll test it real quick at this setting. Let's see. I'll go ahead and tighten that setting up. I'll put the back on. It's secured by a couple of screws. We'll put the screws in here, and it slides. It slides right over it, so it's easy to remove for cleaning. If you need to clean the bowl. Now this gives me enough room, so if I have the weed eater cutting the grass, I can cut the grass up underneath the bottom here because I don't use the lawnmower in this corner right here. Okay, so I think that's good. We'll cut the water on. And there we go. I think that's about it for today. Can you believe I went to look over my shoulder, and now is when I need to get the drone out, but it's really windy. It's probably not a good idea to get the drone out and do some flybys. But if I can keep blue skies like this and also have no wind, we'll do some updates with the drone. We'll fly it around the community and things like that, so you can see not just here at Villa Feliz, but what other things look like as far as changes go within the subdivision. Well, a lot accomplished today. The skim coat is actually drying on the wall over there. Let's take a look at that, see what that looks like. I'll give that a day. It needs another coat. I'll do some sanding, do another coat, do some sanding, maybe another coat, and then do the painting. So I think that'll turn out, you probably won't even notice that we made a hole in the wall and broke some of the plaster coat on the outside. Well, all in all, a good day today. A couple of things got accomplished. Finished up that project, except for the little bit of repair I have to do. Finished up the project for the yard speakers. Those are taken care of. The dogs got a fresh watering bowl so that they can always have fresh water available for them. And the gardener, you can see he worked really hard today to get clean up that driveway inside there so that we can get the truck back inside the garage without tracking in tons of mud. Now for tomorrow, I think it's going to be more of a rest day. Although we are invited to a luncheon with one of our dear friends. I think she's calling it a Thanksgiving luncheon, and it's not a Thanksgiving when you think of in November with the turkey, gobble gobble, and the pilgrims and all that kind of stuff like we celebrate in the United States. This is more of a Thanksgiving that every time you feel you're blessed, you've had opportunities for good health, good friendships, good family, and things like that. A lot of times you just want to give thanks for something like that, and I think that's what that's all about tomorrow with our friend. So we plan on doing that. Around the house here, I don't think there's going to be any projects done here. Like I said, I think tomorrow's a rest day, but it might be a fun day because over my shoulder I can hear Ness. I hear her on the bass guitar, and she's practicing the song I asked her to practice on. And I'm not going to tell you what the song is. Maybe you can guess. For those of you who are about my age, which is my age, there was a band way back when called Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And they did some really nice, pretty mellow stuff. Never really big top 10 kind of songs, but they had some really nice music. And I heard one the other day that I remembered from a long time ago. And I said, I want to do that song. So I practiced on it a little bit. Nessa's practicing on the bass section. And I think tomorrow we just might sit down inside the basement where all the band stuff is, the gear is all set up down there, and we'll see what it sounds like. We'll see if she's learned enough and I've learned enough to actually start putting it together. Then we have one of our friends whose aunt built the house here in the subdivision. I'm hoping that I can get him to come over. He's a drummer, and I'm hoping he can get together and we can start putting all the stuff together, and maybe we can connect with some other musicians in the community as well, and we can have some fun for jam sessions or for little parties that we have around here. It's always fun. Music is a great thing to add to your connection with your friends and family. Well, anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so much for hanging with me with these projects that I did today, and what projects that we do here all the time. It means a lot to us, and I hope it means a lot to you as well. So like I said, I'm going to close. If you enjoyed today's video, please give me a thumbs up, please share, and if you have not subscribed, just click on that little My PI Dream heart in the bottom right hand side of your screen. You'll be subscribed and you'll be notified the next time I upload a new video. So until such time, you have a wonderful and blessed day. If you enjoyed today's episode and you would like to see more just like these, just click on one of the helpful links over to your right, and you might be able to pick up on some good information on DIY projects, how to, or if you are interested in moving to the Philippines and building, you'll find answers there as well.